Welcome to class, everyone. So today is March 20th, and today we're going to be talking about formulating research questions to do research online. So in this lesson, all of you all will be introduced to effective research steps to support information literacy. We are also going to practice the steps of conducting effective research online by identifying problems and formulating research questions. So essentially learning how to search the internet for reliable information so that you can make informed decisions. Because the internet's a great place to find information, but there's also a lot of junk on there, and so it's a skill to understand what is legitimate information and what kind of information you maybe want to stay away from when you're working through the internet and doing research. Because there is sometimes people who will try to get you to click on their links to, you know, sell you something that you don't want to be sold, but you just want to get information, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And so, yeah, should be a good lesson. We'll start with this question up here. One second. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay. So we're going to read through this together and then we'll talk about it. So, an apartment problem. Carolina and Angel live in Cleveland, Ohio. They don't like their apartment because there are many problems. First, there's no parking lot, so they have to find parking on the street. Sometimes it can take a long time to find a parking spot. Also, their apartment is far from their jobs. They want to move closer to the city. They want to have a parking spot for their car and they want a one-bedroom apartment. They want to stick to a monthly rent budget of $1,800. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll call it 1,800 because this curriculum was written a while ago. You're not going to find anything for 800 a month in any city. So we'll call it 1,800 a month. Okay. So what is their problem based on this readout here? What is their problem?
Parking lot.
Yeah, they want a parking lot. What else?
An apartment near a working place.
Yeah, they want to be closer to their workplace. They don't want to commute anymore. They've probably been experiencing a long commute for a little while. It sounds like they want a parking spot. They don't want to commute as much. They want to be closer to their work. What else? Are there any parameters? Do they have a budget?
Yes, they got the $800.
$800. And then what's the one last requirement that they have? How many bedrooms are they looking for?
One bedroom.
Yeah, they're looking for one bedroom. Okay. So this is a very common thing that you can use the internet for, obviously, to search for a place to live or a place to stay. But there's a lot of different places you can look, right? Has anybody ever had the usage of the internet to find a new place to live? Has anyone ever done that? Anybody ever had to use the internet to find a new place to live or app on the internet or on your phone? You guys still there? So I'm gonna share.
Not
Yeah, I see
me.
somebody said yes.
Yeah,
Not you. Okay.
not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through and just show you guys how I would do this. Because again, this class is really today going to be about making sure you guys understand how you can use the internet um, to just find information when you need it. So here we're on Google. You can see we're right here on Google. So right here, I could just say like, I want to find a uh, place to stay in Cleveland, Ohio. So a couple websites come up. This is the first thing I want to point out here. What's this first thing that came up? Booking.com. Has anyone ever heard of that before? That website? So uh, Booking.com is actually for mainly for booking like hotels. But one thing I want to point out here is notice that it says sponsored. It says sponsored because one of the ways that Google makes money is companies can pay them to go to the top of your search results when you search for stuff. So I search for I want a place to stay in Cleveland, and Booking.com has paid Google, which is why it says sponsored, because these are sponsored ads. These ones at the top here are all sponsored. Booking.com, let's see, sponsored VRBO, which you guys like Airbnb, sponsored Expedia. Then it has some stuff here. And then finally you get down here and it looks like these are not sponsored. So when they're not sponsored, that's probably going to be one of your best places to start. It looks like though it's looking primarily at like hotels. So I need to clean up my search a little bit and say I need to find a place to live in, let's say, an apartment. And what does it say? To find an apartment in Cleveland, Ohio, you can use online rental platforms like Zillow, Rent Cafe, Trulia, and Apartment List. So have you guys heard of some of these sites before? These are sites that you can use to find places. So let's go down and let's find Zillow. So here's Zillow. Is it sponsored? Again, Apartment List is sponsored. Redfin is sponsored. The Cleveland is sponsored. These are not. Okay. So these companies haven't spent money to get added to the list, but Google recognizes that these are common websites for finding a place to live. So let's go to Zillow and we're just going to put in some information and see what we get. See if we can find a place that fits our requirements. So I'm just right here going to put in the neighborhood. Let's put in Cleveland, Ohio. Uh, Zillow is not working. Let's go back. Let's try this again. Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio. Let's try Redfin. Cleveland, Ohio. So Redfin is another one. Very similar. Yeah, so here we go. So now we can see on Redfin, there's a bunch of different places you can live in Cleveland, Ohio. However, we know we have some parameters, right? And what were some of those parameters? Does anybody remember?
One bedroom with parking and 1,800.
Yeah, all the stuff that they talked about right here. So on Zillow, it's nice because again, we know she wants to live closer to like city center because they say that they live near city center here in Cleveland. So you can put in all of those parameters. So first of all, is she looking to rent or to buy? It sounded like probably rent because she mentioned apartment, right? So we would want to unclick for sale and then click for rent, right? So that's going to pop up. These are all the rentals available in Cleveland. So we'll hit done. So these are just all filters. So again, we're still looking at the city of Cleveland here. As you can see, I'll zoom out a little bit. Yep. So there it is. So we're looking at Cleveland, Ohio, big city. Her price, what was her max price? 1,800, right? So I can type in 1,800 as the max. Notice that it filtered down. There are 759 rentals under $1,800 a month. Okay. How many beds and bath does she want? She said she wanted one. So not a studio, because a studio would just be like an open floor. So in this case, she's asking for a one bedroom. She doesn't want just one big open floor. So at least one bedroom. She didn't say how many baths. Hit done. So still 735 rentals in Cleveland that meet these parameters. What were some of the other things she said? Did she want a house? No. Did she want a condo or a townhouse? No. She said she wanted an apartment. Okay, so let's do apartment and hit done. That brings it down to 421 possibilities. And then let's look and see what other parameters there are. So here, there's other filters. So let's look at some of these filters. So we have an apartment. She didn't say how big she wanted it. She didn't say if she wanted pets or anything like that. Oh, did she want air conditioning, dishwasher, in-unit washer, dryer? Did she say parking allowed? She did want parking, right? So let's click that one. That's going to be important for her to have. She doesn't want to try to find street parking anymore. Now notice what that did to the results. So when we had parking allowed unchecked, notice there's 421 rentals here. When we said we want parking allowed, look at how many it went down to, 117. 117. So we got rid of 300 apartments that did not have um, parking. And then from there, I'm just using my mouse and I'm zooming in. She mentioned that she wanted to be near city center. And then here, as we zoom in, this is kind of the downtown area. So now over here on the left, all of these little dots here represent apartments in the downtown area. They go for this amount. So if I click this one here that says 1500, it brings it up and you can click it and it shows what that apartment looks like. It shows it meets her parameters because we said 1800 a month, so it's under budget. It's one bedroom, 684 square feet. And let's look. Cats welcome, dogs. Yep, parking. See, there's parking. And so it looks like this would meet all of the parameters that they are looking for. Okay. Um, let's see. We could also go, anybody ever shopped on Craigslist?
For jobs on Craigslist.
Okay. Yep.
I
So
yeah.
Craigslist, yeah. So Craigslist is where people sometimes post if they have like a, something that they're looking to either buy or they're looking for like a short job or something like that. So you can come in here and see mine is set for Seattle. Let's see if it'll let me change my location. It probably sees that I'm in the Seattle area, so it's set there. Let's see if it'll let me search Cleveland, Ohio. Yep. So I changed to Cleveland. Yep. And then I could put apartment and housing here. So same thing, right? So you can have all these filters up here. So we're looking at apartments available in Cleveland right now. And you have all these filters over here on the left side. So you can put in your max price, 1800. You can say a bedroom, one minimum. Uh, da, 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 da. Doesn't have parking there. Oh, here for parking, we can say uh, attached parking or attached garage or carport, any of these. Then I'm going to hit apply. And it came up with a couple different apartments in Cleveland that meet those parameters. So again, this is a way that you would use the internet to be able to find like somewhere to live, right? This would be very hard to do. How did we find apartments before the internet? Does anybody remember?
Catalogs.
Like catalogs and such.
Yeah, right. You had to go to like catalogs. Like you would have to go to a real estate office or maybe at the grocery store, there would be like a pamphlet and it would have different things and you would have to flip through it. But then you still had questions. So then you would even have to call or maybe even drive by and talk to the office manager to ask questions. But these days, if you know how to do research on the internet, you can find the answer to most of your questions just by sitting down in front of the computer for a few hours and starting to write down kind of what you're looking for and what you want to do. Okay. I want to do another example. Let's say that I wanted to figure out, let me think here, Google Maps. So let's say and we've all used Google Maps, right? Everyone here probably use it on your phone every day, or you use Apple Maps, or you use some form of an electronic map to get from where you're at to where you want to go, right? Nobody ever says, "Hey, you need to, um, go down 5 clicks, take a right at the green sign." Like people just give you their address these days. You put it in your phone, and then your phone walks you to that address, essentially, right? So let's say we wanted to figure out, let's say we had a job in Bellevue tomorrow, and we live at Mission Africa area, in the area of Mission Africa, and we needed to be in Bellevue tomorrow by 10 a.m. So I want to show you how to use Google Maps to figure out what time you need to actually leave. And you can do the same thing that we're going to do here on the internet. We're going to be able to do the same thing on your phone. So it'll be a very similar process. So let's say that we wanted to, let's say your job was at the TikTok office in downtown Bellevue. Okay, in Bellevue, and you lived at Mission Africa area. So the first thing you need to do here is come here to the Google search and put in Mission Africa. Better way. There it is. So let's say this is our starting location. Let's see. That is not Mission Africa. Let's try that again. Um, okay. I'm just gonna have to find Mission Africa because I know the map. Give me 1 second. So you come here and then you go there. Mission Africa should be right. Is this where you come across? Let's see. Yep, this is Mission Africa right here, like this address. It's in this building. It's a different suite, but same building. So this is our starter address here. So our starting address is 33309 First Way South, Federal Way. And yep, so anybody recognize that area right there? Mission Africa, right? Let's see if the Mission Africa van is here. It's not. So this is Mission Africa actually right down here. This building right here. And yep, 33309. Yep. Okay, so that is our starting location from Federal Way. And so once we put that in, we can put in directions here, right? And then do we want to go to Federal Way or do we want to start at Federal Way? We want to start in Federal Way, right? So we actually want our start point to be the first one, and then we'll put in where we're going to. So I'm going to actually hit reverse starting point and destination. So now it knows that we're starting in Federal Way. Now it says, well, where do you want to go to? So I'm going to type here that I want to go to TikTok in Bellevue. TikTok office. Bellevue. It's not there. Let's just say we're going to go to the Apple store in Bellevue. Apple Bellevue Square. See this one here?
Yes.
So this is giving us the drive time currently. So we want to figure out how we need to be there at 10 a.m. to pick up the new iPhone that we just bought online, right? And so how would we figure out what time do I need to leave at? Because there's probably going to be traffic in the morning. And if you use the traffic part of the app, where you can see like, okay, there's traffic at this time or at this location, and it maybe helps you get around that traffic. So Google Maps can actually predict that. Um, prior to doing that. So instead of saying leave now, because if you leave now, it's saying that it would take, let's see. By the way, it's on transit. So we want to do by driving. So we hit driving, and it said if you drive right now from Mission Africa to the Apple Store in Bellevue, it's going to take about 40 minutes. There's a couple different routes. The main route's 40 minutes, and the alternate route is 41 minutes. Okay. But we don't want to leave now. We want to leave tomorrow, and we want to get there right at 10 a.m. sharp. So instead of saying leave now, we can say arrive by. And what time do we want to be there tomorrow? What time did we say? Anybody remember?
10.
10 a.m., right? So I'm going to back this up to 10 a.m. So now it says arrive by 10 a.m., but not today because that's in the past. I can't do that. But Friday, March 21st, we want to arrive by 10 a.m. So now it's telling me it's going to take anywhere from 35 minutes to 1 hour is what it's predicting. So if that's the case, it's saying here, if we go the fastest route via I-5 North and I-405, it's typically 35 minutes to 1 hour. So what time do I need to leave Mission Africa tomorrow if I want to be at the Apple Store by 10 o'clock? 9 a.m. Okay, so this is a very common usage of the internet, is figuring out traffic patterns and how long is it going to take to get somewhere. Obviously, most of you I know do this on your phone, but I also want to make you aware that there is an option on your phone to do future drives. You can do it in Waze, you can do it in Google Maps, you can do it in Apple Maps. You can say, hey, I need to go to this place, but I need to be there tomorrow at this time. And it can help you with that. It's especially helpful if you expect traffic because it knows what the general traffic patterns are. Like if you wanted to go to Portland tomorrow and be there by 5 p.m., you know that without traffic going to Portland is 2 hours, but trying to get through Tacoma and Seattle and past the military base at 3 p.m. can be difficult. So let's say we wanted to do that. Let's just throw in Portland for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Well, let's say we wanted to be there at 5 p.m. because it's normally 2 hours, but it's saying that tomorrow, if I wanted to be in Portland by 5 p.m., I should expect it to be 2.5 hours to 3.5 hours. So it's saying that I should leave at 1:30. Does that make sense, everyone? Any questions on that?
Yes.
Is this helpful? Do you guys use this?
Mm. What you are using is it Google Map or?
I am using Google Maps on right now.
Okay.
This will work just the same on your phone. When
Yes.
you use Google Maps, just look for the area that says arrive by, or it might start by saying leave now, but you
Uh-huh.
can choose the option for arrive by. So then you can tell it
Uh,
what time you need to be at the location wherever you're going, and
uh-huh.
then it'll help you to get there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really helpful
yeah.
when
Wow.
you're trying to figure out what time you need to leave and oh there might be traffic. 'Cause I know a lot of the times, especially if you're going somewhere new and you don't understand the potential traffic patterns, you could end up being late and nobody wants to be late because of traffic. So I
Yeah.
highly recommend this. So let's talk through a little bit of what it is to do some research online and what those steps look like. So I'm gonna
Eh,
go ahead.
I have a question. There,
Yes.
when you are teaching us about searching the appointment, there is something you mentioned about. Is it sponsor? What does it mean?
What can you say that again? I'm sorry.
There, when you are teaching us about getting an apartment, there are two categories. One is it sponsor, and the other one is what
Oh,
is?
yes, sponsored. Yes.
Yeah.
So sponsored, when you Google search something and it says above it that it's been sponsored,
Uh-huh.
that indicates that the company right below that has
Mm,
paid, they have paid Google to
mm.
be at the top of your search.
Wow. Top of the.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So
Mm,
that's not always bad.
mm,
Sometimes it can be helpful, but
mm,
most of the time that's
mm,
because there may not be the best source of information for what you're looking for, but they're
mhm.
trying to get your attention before you see the best results.
Wow.
Because Google is really smart. Google actually
Mm,
keeps record of the terms that people search
mhm,
and how good those search results are because
mhm,
at times, like for instance, if you Google like I'm looking for an apartment and you click on a link and you don't stay at that link very long,
mhm,
Google records that as not a good customer experience. And then if
mhm.
you click another link and you stay on that page for 20 or 30 minutes, Google remembers that and says, ah, so when people Google this item and then they click on that link and they
Mhm.
stay there for 20 or 30 minutes, it gives them confidence that that was a good link. So that will naturally bump up the
Wow.
next time someone Googles that item.
Mhm.
Okay. But again, people can pay Google to bump up to the top also. And
Wow.
so you just want to be aware of that, that
Uh-huh.
that might not always be like if you could Google anything. Let's show another one here.
Okay.
Um, um, let's go to Google. I'm gonna say buy a basketball rim. Maybe let's say your son is into like playing
Uh-huh.
basketball and you want to get a basketball rim. What does this say here?
Sponsored.
Sponsored. So Anthem
Mhm,
Sports
mhm,
and all of these folks here
mhm.
have paid Google to be at the top of the search.
Oh.
Okay. So I don't necessarily always go for that.
Mm.
I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna say, oh, actually the first real result is Spalding. That's not a paid ad.
Oh,
So everything up here sponsored just means that it's basically an ad, right? They paid to be at the top of your search results. So it's
oh,
another form of an ad.
mhm. Sponsor.
Okay.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what that means right there.
Which one is good to search when one is looking for a house to purchase or to mortgage or to buy? Is it Google Map or this sponsor?
Uh, Zillow.com
Or
is
zero?
reputable.
Zero.
Zillow, yep,
Mm.
Zillow is a great place to do that. And
Zero
another one is
dot.
Zillow. Yeah, Zillow. I'm sorry.
Mm,
Here we go. ZILLOW.com. And you
mm,
can look to buy or
mhm.
sell here. So this is probably the most popular site is Zillow.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then there's Redfin, which is a very similar feel. They kind of feel
Mm.
like the same site sometimes,
Uh-huh.
but these are both really good sites to start with.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And they're very reputable. Um, if I was looking for a place to live, I wouldn't go to Craigslist because anybody can post on Craigslist.
Mm,
For Zillow and Redfin,
mm,
this is pulling straight from like official listings that have been put up by real estate agents.
mhm,
So you should not see anything that's not legitimate here. On Craigslist,
mm,
someone might put up and say, "Hey, I have a 4,000 square foot beautiful home on 2 acres,
mm,
but the first person that sends me $2,000 to
uh,
reserve it
mm.
will get it, right?" But that's not real. That's a scam, right? And so anybody can put anything on Craigslist, so you have to be a little more careful about what you're doing there. But Zillow
Mhm.
and Redfin are great places to find a place to live.
The spelling is it Zone?
I'll put it in the chat. Is ZILLOW.
Yeah, where is it? I can't see.
You should see it on your screen right now. You see it right now?
Yeah.
ZILLOW.
Oh, okay. I saw it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
.com. Oh,
And
thank
so
you.
again, just
Yeah.
be careful about these sponsored results. That's
Mm,
definitely something to keep in mind when you're doing your Google searches, just to
mm,
understand why
mhm,
you're seeing certain results sometimes. And
mhm.
so next, I wanted to go through with you guys how to do proper research on the internet. And this is extremely important because if you don't ask the right questions when you do your Google searches or your Yahoo searches or whatever you use, probably on your phone. If you're maybe using, if you have an iPhone, you probably have Safari. So you might just use Safari to, search up information. And I know that we all do this every day, but the first thing that you need to do when you are doing research on the internet is you have to identify a problem and formulate a research question, right? So you have to have a specific problem and then write a question. So let's look at two questions that you could ask the internet. One might be, where can I find a new apartment in Cleveland, Ohio? Is that a good question to ask the internet? Is that specific or is it pretty general? Where can I find an apartment in Cleveland, Ohio? That's going to get you a ton of results, right? If you remember when we looked on Zillow earlier and we just put in Cleveland, Ohio apartments. Oh, that's right. It didn't work. We got to do Cleveland over here. Cleveland, I mean, how many results? There's 854 results. So that's not very useful. What would be more useful is saying, where can I find a one bedroom apartment in Cleveland, Ohio, that's in the city center, has parking, and it's $800 a month or less? Do you see the difference between the one on the left and the one on the right? Which one is more specific?
Yeah, can I find?
Yeah, the one here on the right. And this is going to get you better results so you don't have to spend so much time combing through the information. So step number one to conducting research is to come up and formulate a specific question, the detailed question of what you want to ask for. And it should look something like this. It should be a little bit long, to be honest with you. It shouldn't be just like, hey, where can I find an apartment? You're going to get a lot of results. So that's the first thing is coming up with that question. So that's step one. Step two is find resources to answer your question. So this is what we just talked about, like Zillow or Redfin if you're looking for, a place to stay or a new apartment or to buy a home. If you're looking for directions on how to get somewhere, we know that Google Maps is probably a good place to start, right? And so making sure that you find good resources is important. If you do a search and it comes up as a sponsored ad, is that going to always be the most relevant to your search?
No.
Right. Can you guys hear me okay, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple people that are saying they can't hear me, so I was just
I-
curious. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's the second one, right? So step one, identify your problem, formulate your question. Step two, find the resources to answer your questions, right? So that's where you check and say, okay, is this a sponsored ad or am I looking at some legitimate results here? Okay, so again, Zillow would be a good place to go for that. Evaluate. This is the part that takes time. And we've all done research on the internet and you can evaluate the information. And what are you asking yourself when you're evaluating it? So once you find the resources and you find a good website, it's important to evaluate, which means to judge the value of the resource thoughtfully. Some of the information is reliable, and then there's others that obviously isn't. And so it's important to evaluate the information. So, evaluate what is the website URL, right? So again, if you're going to a website that has like a .com or something, that's probably pretty good. But if it has a very long website name, you've never heard of the website, the more you haven't heard of it, I would be very careful about maybe using that as a legitimate resource. Who made the website? Who's the author? That you may or may not understand that. That's okay. Is the resource accurate? Right? Is it free of spelling errors and things? Typically very professional organizations, they aren't going to have spelling errors on their stuff. So if you have spelling errors and so forth, that's an indication that the website might not be the most trustworthy website because it probably got put up pretty quick. And then it says, is the resource even helpful to answer your research question? That comes up quite a bit. There's a lot of information on the internet. And then it says, check the dates of the website. Is it current? Sometimes websites could have been created 5 years ago and they haven't been updated for years. All right. So once you figure out and say, okay, yes, this is good information, and you evaluated it and determined that it is trustworthy, then, and this is the step that none of us do, we organize the information using notes, right? Because if you're looking around, for instance, for a place to live, you're going to see so many places that like that meet the criteria. Oh, this one looks nice. Oh, this one looks nice. But you have to have a way of organizing that information, probably in, let's say, a Google Doc or a Google Sheet. I'll just pull up an Excel sheet, for instance. Let me open up a sheet here. 1 second. I'm going to open up a brand new one here. So let's say you were looking for a place to live. You might want to do a spreadsheet that looks something like this. Option number, and you have option 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would keep going. So what is the option number? You might have cost, square feet, um, distance from work, distance from family, bedrooms, bathrooms, and then notes. And then maybe you have overall rating out of 10. And then as you're evaluating your different options, and we probably want to add address here too, so we remember which one. So the one on 12 Main Street, the cost maybe is, let's say your budget's 1,800, maybe this one's 1,500 a month. Their square feet is 900 a month. The distance from, what do we got here? I'm just gonna make these a little bigger so I can read all this. And I'm just gonna kind of get us all squared away. Distance from work, maybe it's 5 miles. Distance from family, 2 miles. Bedrooms, two bathrooms, no notes, and then I would give it an overall rating of an 8. And then let's say there's 321 um, Flower Street. That one is 1,800 a month, and it's 1,200 square feet. It's also 5 miles away, also 2 miles. Two bedroom, one bath. No notes, and I give that one an 8.5. Maybe there's another one at 4442 Railroad Avenue. This one is 1750. It's 1,180 square feet. It's 10 miles away from work, but it's only 6 miles from family, so it's a little bit further out. But for this one, you can get 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. And I give that one at 8 also. And then lastly, there's one at 999 Cedar Avenue. This one's the cheapest of all, 1450, 1,050 square feet, 8 miles, 5 miles, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and this one you gave a 7.5. So here's the thing. This is helpful, but you have to take the time to do this because at the end of the day, when you have a big decision to make, this can be so helpful to help you understand all of the options and see them in one place. Because when you're on Redfin, you can look at a property, you can look at another one, say, okay, I like this one, I like that one, this is what I like about this one. But then now you have a way to look at them all in one place, and you can say, because you might be looking at places over a couple weeks, and you have to remember what you looked at. And that's where the notes can come up. Like maybe you went by 123 Main and you said, um, nice neighbor, oh my goodness, neighborhood, um, with park close by, and friendly neighbors, because you met the neighbors when you went by. So that might be the thing that puts that one over. And right, you have a little note section here as you drive by. And then when you're done evaluating all of them because you drove by, now you can make an informed decision because you took the time to record your analysis from the internet and also driving by. And now you can make an informed decision to say which one of these do we like the most. And maybe you come back and say, oh, I really like this one. I know we didn't rank it as high as this one here, but I really like that neighborhood. I remember the park was really nice. We could take walks there, and I really like the neighbors, and that's important to me that we have good neighbors. Let's maybe go see if we can rent a place at this apartment here. Does that make sense, everyone? This is the part I think we never do.
Mhm. That's
We are doing research and we have all this stuff in our head, and it's hard to compare it if you don't take the time to do this. So you can do this in Excel, or you can even do this on a Google Doc. And then it says here, the last piece is use the information found to answer your question and make an informed decision, which is what I just showed you, right? So once you have a document to document your research, then you can make an informed decision about what you want to do. So I want to spend the last few minutes here actually going through some exercises with you all to practice, because we got 10 minutes left. This class flew by today. Okay. All right. So one of the questions that I had here is who's ever Googled like I need to make a meal for my family and I need it make it like a quick meal. So let's do quick meals for kids, quick dinners for kids on a budget, right? So I do this all the time, guys. We're a busy family. We got kids. We're like, I got to feed them. I don't know what I'm gonna make, and I can come here and maybe find some different things that I can make for the kids. So here, notice, did we have any sponsored ads? No, we did not.
No.
So that's a good sign. So I'm like, click this first one. Normally, the top one is going to be your best bet after sponsored because, again, it's going to be the one that Google has figured out most people go to and they stay on the website. So it's going to be the most useful. But here's the bad thing about some of these websites. You get ads like, do you see this thing down here at the bottom? This little video started playing. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. So this happens on a lot of sites that are free because they're free to you because you're not paying like to necessarily go to this website and get the information because you're just looking for a free meal. But HBO is paying these folks to put this little ad up on their thing. So sometimes these are a little bit annoying because I don't know about you, I just want to see like the meal, but then I start getting all these ads down below. Let me see. So I'm gonna, let's see. Okay. And so, yeah, so you get these ads at the bottom. They're not necessarily bad, but just, they're a little bit annoying, right? Because like even for this one, even as I'm scrolling through the article, now I have to look at a Cinnamon Toast Crunch ad. I got a big ad right here for some kind of thing. I don't even know what it's about. And so this page is really long because intermingled within the web page is ads for a bunch of different stuff. Okay. And so that's just something to be aware of there. So if I wanted to use this, I would just go find, let's say this is the one I wanted to do, like lazy lasagna. I could just come down and click on the recipe. And then it shows all the things, 860,000, so 860.1K. So that means 860,000 people have shared this recipe. So that's pretty good. So that's a pretty good indicator that it's reliable, right? You're not the first person coming here to this website. So a lot of information here on what you need to do and how to make it and so forth. Let's say you needed to figure out how to, let's say you had a job interview at the Seattle VA tomorrow. and you live at, um, let's say you live near the Walmart in Federal Way. How would you figure out using Google Maps if your interview is at 10 a.m. tomorrow? Can anyone help me figure out what time would you need to leave the Walmart in Federal Way driving to be at that interview by 10 o'clock?
8.
Well, so we think that, but how would we know? How would we use Google Maps to figure out what time would we need to leave the Federal Way Walmart to get to the VA in Seattle, the Veteran Affairs Hospital, because you have an interview there tomorrow. How do we figure that out?
Arrive by.
Yeah, so let's put in, so let's first of all find the address at the Walmart in Federal Way. There's a couple of them, I believe. So let's say we just use the one right here. Okay. So this is our beginning location. We're going to leave from here. We're going to meet somebody there and they're going to drive us. And I need to know what time to tell them to be there because they're going to drive me up to the VA. So I can come here and hit directions. Notice again, it made Walmart the destination, but am I going to Walmart or do I want Walmart to be my starting location?
You want it to be a starting location.
Yes. And then, so I switch it here. And then it says, where do you want to go? So where do we want to go? The Veteran
And
Affairs, uh, Seattle.
Seattle.
Veteran VA Seattle Regional Office, right there. Okay. So if I leave now, it's 32 minutes, but I need to be there at 10 a.m. So again, do we want to leave now? No. We
No.
want to arrive by 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Set me
So,
40.
so we have to change this to Friday and then change the time to arrive by 10 a.m. And based on this, what time should we leave Walmart to get there?
9:10 a.m.
9:10 a.m. There you go. So you can tell your friend that maybe is taking you, hey, meet me at the Walmart parking lot at 9. We need to be on the road by 9:10 because we should expect traffic at that time in the morning because according to Google Maps, the ride could be a little bit extended because there's probably going to be morning traffic, which is why it says 30 to 50 minutes. Okay. Because we know it's only 25 miles, but it's a 50-minute commute because there's probably going to be traffic, right? And so you can anticipate that. Again, you can do all of this in your phone. I just want to show you that what is available. Um, okay. Next scenario, really quick. Let's say you want to find a home in Maple Valley um, that has good schools and 3 bedrooms, a yard. How would you do that on Redfin? So 3 bedrooms, good schools, and a yard. And the budget is
You
4,500 a month.
You use
you
you use the company which is Red Fine and Zero,
Okay. Yeah.
the two sites.
Yeah. So let's start with Maple Valley, Washington. Sorry, hit Maple Heights. Well, we'll just use Redfin for this one, Maple Valley, Washington. And let's get ready to do all of our parameters. So let's say we wanted to go for sale. So we're looking to buy. We have a max price of 4,500 or let's see, yeah, monthly payment. So not a list price of 40. We don't want to pay $4,500 for a house. We want to have a monthly payment of no more than 4,500 a month. We know we need 3 bedrooms because we got a couple kids. And we want a house because we want to be able to have a yard. And then come here and there's a couple other filters. So we know that, let's see, we want like a decent sized lot because we want to have some yard. So we put that in there. And oh, and then we want to make sure that we have good schools.
Mhm.
So let's say we want school rating of at least a 7. because we want our kids to go to good schools. So we say see homes, and it comes up with two options that fit our budget. So these are our two options in Maple Valley, under budget, good schools with 3 bedrooms and a yard. And then we have two options. And then again, this narrows down what your requirements are. So now you know that you have two homes that you want to go look at. You got this one right here, and it has the photos here, has different information. You can see if you come down, it'll tell you the school ratings. Look at this. Shadow Lake Elementary, 5. The middle school's a 7, and the high school's a 9. Fantastic. Love it. My kids are going to get a good education here. We can have a yard. We have 3 bedrooms, and it's within our budget. Same thing with this one. So you can come here. You can kind of see the pictures here again, and you can see again, it meets all your parameters. It's open. It's let's see where the schools are. Yep, same. Actually, the schools are even a little bit better. A 7, 7, and a 9. And it's in Maple Valley, and it beats all your parameters. So yes, fantastic. Let's see. I'm just looking through my notes here. And one last one I want to show you all. Let's say we were doing a Google search, and you have a kid that has some kind of symptoms, right? So I was doing this one the other day. My kid itchy, has itchy eyes and a running nose, and it's early spring in Seattle. Do I need to take them to the doctor? Right? Oftentimes with kids, they have all these different things going on. My wife and I are always like, oh, our kid has these symptoms. Are they really sick or can they just sleep it off? And I love this AI overview. Does anyone know what AI stands for?
Yes. Artificial intelligence.
Yes, exactly. So these are really good summaries. So Google has started providing these. So essentially, using your query, your question that you wrote, is understanding that, oh, you probably have a sick kid at home, and it's giving you some, again, it's summarizing the results that it found for that. So it's saying, given the itchy eyes and runny nose during early spring in Seattle, it's possible your child is just having seasonal allergies. While it might be manageable with over-the-counter treatments, consult your doctor if symptoms are severe. And then it talks about, again, it could be triggered by pollen from trees or flowers. Let's see, what to expect at the doctor's office, over-the-counter treatments. So say I just want to go to Fred Meyer and I need to know what to buy: antihistamines, nasal sprays, or eye drops. Okay, if I wanted more information, I could come to Seattle's Children. Is this a reliable source to answer my question? Is there an
Yeah.
ad? Is this sponsored? Is
No.
this a sponsored answer? No.
No.
It's Seattle Children's, right? Is this a reputable? Have you guys heard of Seattle Children's?
I have.
Yeah, it's the local children's hospital. So yeah, I would trust this as a source. And I could come here and I would review the information and kind of understand what's going on. So again, we're a few minutes over. The main thing I want you all to get from this lesson is that it's important to understand and have online digital literacy, because there's a lot of junk information, and I want you guys to understand how to find what you're looking for. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of frustration. It'll save you from getting extra ads. And it'll just help you find what you're looking for more quickly. Does anyone have any questions? We're a little bit over time.
Mhm.
Okay, so just to recap really quick as a summary. So just to recap again as a summary, our steps for evaluating information online is: number one, identify the problem. Number two, make sure the resource is legitimate. Number three, evaluate the information thoroughly to make sure, again, that it's a trustworthy website. Organize the information. If you're, again, doing a lot of research, you can do that. Yeah, I can definitely share the notes for sure with you all. I see that Jacqueline asked about that. And then lastly, use information found to answer research questions and make an informed decision, right? So I will share this with you all. I have all of your emails, so I'll send out an email shortly with the notes so that you guys have this also. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Have a good evening. I hope this helped, and I will see you guys next week.